Hey there, and welcome back to Garage Time. My name's Tom, and last week we left off with wiring the headlights. I went ahead and wired both and got the trim rings reinstalled, and the headlights are working great. But prior to putting the bumper on, I thought we should go over the latch issue because while the bumper's off, it's a little easier to take care of it. So the issue and the problem I'm trying to solve today is that it's very difficult to get access inside the trunk area when the bumper's on and the hood is down. So this is a backdate. So this is the latch panel from the short hood. And because the hood has been extended, it makes getting your hand in there really difficult to actuate the stock latch. So I'm gonna come up with some solutions on that today. So for those of you who thought I was just gonna live with laying on my back and getting into the hood that way using the yardstick, this video is for you. I never planned on doing that. Here's some of the components we're dealing with. I actually have an extra one of these. This is the safety catch, so if you get some air underneath the hood, it's not just gonna fly off. And then this pin here is what locks into this clasp right there. And this is all for 74 and up Porsches, and it's a good system. The previous design was really based on the 356. My 356 is right next to me. And that latch system uses something like this, where it's a spring, gets compressed, and then there's a catch underneath there that actually holds the hood down. And then there's a different kind of latch mechanism that pulls on this cone. See, it's like a teardrop cone shape. This is a little bit more problematic, and I think that's why they went away with it. Sometimes 356 hoods get locked down. So the important thing and reason why I'm showing you this is because this spring does something else. It actually pops the hood open slightly so you can get your hands underneath there. The distance between here and here is only about an inch. That means your hand can't get in there. But if I was to extend the safety catch down, then I can get my whole hand in there and actually get to the latch and open it up. Okay, I thought about incorporating the spring up here into the latch assembly. It's a little bit crowded. This has to move this way. There probably isn't enough room for it, but I thought about it. And then down here, it has to be something for it to push against. So that part right there isn't gonna work because the latch has to go that way. And this part here is, there's really nothing for this to make contact with. So just gonna unscrew this real quick, get it to the bench, and we'll extend that side. Just gotta find something the same thickness. It's in there somewhere. Maybe it's this one. Or maybe this one. 110, 83, 111, close enough. I think I'm gonna extend it about 1.5 inches. And we'll try that. And here comes the hammer part. The bend radius on this wasn't very sharp, so when you hit it with a hammer, you don't get a real sharp radius, which is perfect for this. This piece has been extended, and it's got the flange. It's actually matching pretty well. I'm not going to finish it and tidy it up until this thing 100% works. And then this side here, I extended this leg here. My thought is I need to push up on something, and rather than push up on this piece that moves, you know, this would be pushing up like this. This piece moves, so it might be a little unstable and it could cause it to fail. The reason why you need to push up is so that you can unlatch it. Right now, the weight of the hood is enough to push it down and it always remains latched, even if the release is pulled. So with the release pulled, it needs to spring itself up just about 1/2 of an inch. And then you can grab the hood with your hand and slide the other one underneath and get it open. That's the idea anyways. So here at the car, this longer piece is gonna go down inside the hole there. And then you can see how this leg here goes in between that hole right there. So there'll be a spring underneath this factory latch that's gonna push this whole assembly up. This car and hood are not supported by the stock gas struts in the rear. I kind of prefer the simple approach with just a prop rod. To me, it's like really simple. I just kind of like that. And to be honest with you, I didn't plan on using the gas struts, especially when I was doing the body work and when I was setting up the gaps. So to go back and add the gas struts now would probably upset the fit of the hood, and it could create just a lot more work. So I never intended to use the gas struts, and so I don't intend to now. I've sketched out a few ideas here on paper, none of which are actually that great. I really prefer to use the torsion springs like they have in the factory latch because they're really compact and they can exert pressure. You can't necessarily buy those at the hardware store, and this is something that I wanted to kind of get done today, and also without a lot of expensive custom springs. That doesn't really make sense either. So what I've come up with so far is a bracket that's going to mount underneath the factory latch, and it's just got an angle on it. And then there's going to be a little arm that is going to exert pressure on this part of the leg. So it's just going to kind of work like this. It's going to have a kind of a bell crank on it with an extension spring. Thank you for bearing with me on this contraption. I am just about ready to screw it into the car, see if it works. Fingers crossed. Okay, the mechanism's working like I expected. The spring pressure might be on the light side. I have various springs to try, but I'm gonna go ahead and install the upper half and then close the lid and see what happens. Closed. So here is the issue. So when I pull the release, it is not lifting the hood on its own. So when you're in the car and you're pulling the release button, it's gotta be able to unlatch it. Because the only way I can do it now is if I pull this and lift up. And now it's not coming off at all. Okay, the first thing I'm seeing is this was welded, this is too wide right here, and I did that just to make the welding easier, but now it's time to grind it the same width as this, because I think this hook right here is causing it to get stuck. So that's one thing, and I can also maybe shift the position of this more forward, so this clears the little windows here in the latch panel. Yeah, I've just made this more even in terms of its thickness on the way down. Still has more grinding to do, but this is prevented that sharp corner there, which I think was catching. And then on this angle, I've done the same. This is the same width, kind of all the way down. And I actually shifted the whole assembly forward. And I also took a little material off this guy here. It's still the same thickness as that, but it's just a little sharper point. So let's give that a try. Okay, hood's down, clicked in, it's locked in place. Same problem though. I released the latch mechanism, the factory latch. I just have a little pull cord here going right to the latch, and it's not enough pressure to unlatch it. So let's see how much more pressure it's needed. So if I open the latch and just give it a little bit of a push, it's really close. So it's not taking much right now. It's just a little bit more pressure, and I think we got it. So this spring here is really light, and I started with a light spring. I'm gonna go to the next heavier one, and I think we're gonna be closer. Here's a difference in springs. This is the one I had previously, real easy to pull. This one here is much stiffer, but it's longer too, so it's not gonna have to compress as far or extend as far, but it is a stiffer rate spring. Pretty easy to close, but will it open? It does open. So that's down. That's open. It's not popping up very much, but it is releasing the latch. So we might have to lube things up a little bit, but that's enough to unlatch it from inside the car, walk out here, lift up on the hood, reach underneath, and get in. So that is success. Just needs a little bit more pressure. Maybe I can stretch that spring a little bit further. First thing I'm gonna try, I'm gonna put the old spring back on too, so we'll have double springs. Just as a test here. So to close it, we, boom, feels great. Unlatch, opens right up. That's what I want right there. So unlatch. Right now it's in its waiting position for a little bit of a push. Puts it down, unlatch, boom. Little push. Now it's closed. Release it. Now I'm able to get my finger right underneath here, lift up high enough to get my hand underneath the lid and above the bumper, and lift it up. Let's do that again. Down, up. Here's the next biggest spring. I'm not 100% sure this is going to work to replace both of the previous springs, but clearly I would like to do it all in one. Kind of mangled the end, but at least I can try it out. Okay, that one actually failed. I put it on the car and it was so elongated that it just pulled the coils apart. So this spring has now failed. It's no longer got a preload to it. I wasn't able to get the perfect spring from the hardware store, nothing in between. So I can order something on McMaster and it'll probably be here on Monday. So that means I won't be able to replace 2 springs, which are actually working really well, with a single spring until next week. And also, I was going to put the bumper on and show you how my hand can fit between the bumper and the hood. I have no concern whatsoever about it. There's plenty of room now that I extended the latch, but unfortunately, I'm out of time. Zach's performing tonight. It's a Friday night, so we're gonna watch him perform in concert. And you know, that's it. If you're curious about sort of the rationale, why I went through this funky mechanism, as opposed to just using the gas struts. And to me, the gas struts are obviously a great solution. You know, Porsche used them forever. I sort of want this car to be as simple as possible. I kind of like feeling the weight of the hood when you open it up to put gas in it. It's not convenient, I agree, but that's part of the appeal on this car. I want everything to be mechanical. I want the sensation of, like I said, lifting up the hood and feeling the weight, putting the prop rod in. That's all kind of a routine that I want on this car. I don't want anything done for me. I don't like the gas struts holding up the hood for me, if that makes sense. I know it's a weird sort of conclusion, but I've done that throughout the car. I want everything stripped out, raw, simple. And this is why I made that mechanism, really to avoid the convenience of the gas struts, if that makes any sense. So I'll leave it at that. If you don't agree, that's totally fine. You know, you can thumbs down the video, you can thumbs up the video, you leave a comment, just let me know what you're thinking.